social media scrapbookers. So I wanted to do some show and tell to show you some layouts that have been inspired by social media for me. Some of them are going to be inspired by Pinterest and others will be inspired by other social media outlets like Facebook or Instagram or even just the internet in general. So for this page, and not every bit of every page is going to be inspired by Pinterest, but I just want to show you kind of where some of the inspiration comes from. Sometimes it's at the beginning of the process and other times it's in the middle of the process. So for this page, I think I had all of this, I think if I'm remembering correctly, I had all of this laid out and no title. No, that's not true. I remember now. Okay, so I saw Emily Pitts had a layout called Here I Am, and then she also used this quote, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams." And I really liked that sentiment, and I oftentimes will find a quote on Pinterest and use that for the title. So a lot of times when I start the page, I don't even know what that is. And then somewhere in the process of making the page, I'll go onto Pinterest, search for a quote, and then, find one that I like and use that as the title of the page or as journaling on the page. This is a page that is on two of my Pinterest boards, and one is under layout design and then grids. And the other one is, I think, for the 80s, because this is really a layout about how my daughter enjoys 80s music just like I do. So that isn't necessarily inspired by Pinterest, but it was something that I wanted to put up on my Pinterest boards so I could remember to use this kind of a layout format again, because a grid is a really easy way to make a layout. And you see that there's a base here of a grid. This looks like a tic-tac-toe board. So I like to notice when I'm making scrapbook pages or looking at scrapbook pages, I like to notice the layout design of a scrapbook page. So I would look at this and say, oh, that is a grid design, where I would look at this and I might say, well, there's a band, or there's something where we're using just half of the page. I would like to say that's 1/3, but it's really taking up just about half of the page. So I have a layout design board called Vertical Split, and this page might go onto a page like that, onto a board like that. Okay, let's see. Another thing I like to do on Pinterest is trend spot, and for the past couple of years we've been seeing lots and lots and lots of banners or pennants, or there's another name for them, like bunting. And so this was a page kind of inspired by that trend. This was a page where I had gone on vacation and we had a whole bunch of photos. Like, I have literally thousands of photos from this vacation. Did I print all of them? No. I printed maybe 200 pictures from this vacation. So still I had quite a lot of photos that I wanted to scrapbook. And did I scrapbook them all? No. A lot of them are still, waiting to be scrapbooked, and that's just fine. But I did want to make a page that included a lot of photos, and so I just searched in Pinterest for, multiple photo scrapbook layouts, and I found this this layout, which I think was a sketch by a 2Ps garden girl. Okay, next up. This part of the page was inspired by Pinterest. There was, maybe a year or so ago, there was that circle that was folded, and I thought that was so clever, and I thought, I bet I can do that with squares, and I made this, all of this here that really reminded me of a quilt, which makes me think family history, which the subject of this page is, who were these people? Because I'm the family historian in my family, and I have so many photos, and so many of them are not labeled. So that was we know these are all women, but who are they? And that was, note to self, write who people are on the backs of photographs. Okay, so sometimes I have family history success stories, and I discovered through a Google search. I have a Google search of my maiden name, which is Fenderson. And so anytime an article or anything comes up on the internet with my last name Fenderson, I get an alert. And I was alerted to this storybook that was written. It's called Willowbrook, and it's about Ivory Fenderson, who is a relative of mine, who owned a carousel. And it's a really charming little story that I never would have found but for a Google search. And so after I discovered this whole story, then I think that I looked on Pinterest and I just searched for, he had a very specific type of Ferris wheel, or it's not a Ferris wheel, it's a carousel. It was called the Steam Riding Gallery Whirling Panorama. I'm going to cough. Hold on just a second. Excuse me. But I was able to find some images, and then I tucked in all of my Google searches. This part of the page is this whole part of the page is a pocket. And so there's all the information supporting the story behind it. Okay, next up. Also, in my another family history success was that I discovered through using Ancestry.com that I am related to pilgrims. Yes, I'm actually descended from like 7 different pilgrims. And so when I found this, when I made this page, I didn't know that I was related to so many of them. I just knew that I was related to one, and I knew that he had signed the Mayflower Compact. So this is a page where I got the images and from Pinterest and then printed them out, and I also made an ancestry board that has all of the information about this particular family history line, because it's, you know, it's a well-documented line. So, and so because it's a well-documented line, because anybody who is descended from people from the Mayflower, the Pilgrims, you know, any famous person descended from the Mayflower, it's well documented. So I was able to figure out that I was related to the Roosevelts. And yeah, it's so cool because I have so many pins on Pinterest from Eleanor Roosevelt and all of the Roosevelts, really. I've always loved their quotes, so I was thrilled to learn that I am distantly related to them. I think she's my 6th cousin, 6 times removed, or something like that. But it was really fun to learn about them, and so I copied and pasted a few of the images that I found and printed them out onto the page. And then on the back of this page, I'll just show the back of this one, I actually printed out from, this is from Ancestry.com. This shows exactly how I am related to the two different pilgrims. And then we know, like, it's well documented that they were also related to those 2 pilgrims. So, ta-da. Okay, the next page is about my great-uncle. So this is my great-great-uncle. So this was the brother of my great-grandmother. And at the time that I made the page, I didn't have any photographs of him. So I found images on Pinterest that looked about like that time period. And then I printed out this. I also made a pocket for this page, and I put information that I found on Ancestry.com inside that pocket. Okay, here's a different type of a heritage album, or page. I had some pictures of my grandmother with a baby, and we don't know who the baby was. Because my mother was born in 1946, and my aunt was born after that. So this was it was written on the back, the date. And so I just used the date as my title for the page. And I really didn't have like much of a story, so I think I did a little bit of journaling here, but I really just wanted to, and the pictures were dark, and she looked kind of happy. So I wanted to give a playful attitude to this page. So I was inspired by a Pinterest board that I have called Shapes. The category is Shapes, and then circles, because there's so much you can do with circles. And if you want to have a lot of fun with playing with embellishments, like search for circle shapes in scrapbook layouts in Pinterest, and there's so much you'll find. It's really fun. So this was just kind of a playful layout that I made. There is a little bit of information over here, but I really didn't have a lot to go on, and I wanted to brighten up those photos, so I love this layout. Okay, the next one is I'm very inspired by the sunburst layout design. I'm gonna pause and take a little drink. Okay, back. Sorry about that. Second cold of this year. But okay, so I like I said before, I like to notice designs in scrapbook layouts, and one design that's been very popular for the last couple of years is a sunburst. And another technique that has been popular in scrapbooking recently is this tone on tone. So I made a sunburst, and then I cut with a punch those little hearts. And so this was just mostly a playful page for me, and then I just added a picture of my son and said, I love you very much. Okay. So I'm also, I think that probably Pinterest and Instagram are my favorite social media platforms now. But I joined Facebook in 2008, and for a long time I had a love affair with Facebook. And one of the biggest reasons that I loved Facebook so much was that all of my friends from elementary school, and I moved away after 5th grade, so I really never saw those girls again. But 30 years later, all the girls that I went to elementary school with, they're all on Facebook. So that was a page celebrating, and these were their pictures from, and one of us was missing. I still haven't connected with her. I think she's just not out there on social media. Maybe she should take this class. Okay, so another thing I like to do is, my sister lives out of state, and so I will take the pictures that she went to Scotland recently, and so I took some of her pictures from Scotland, and then just some other pictures that I had, and I made a page all about her, even though this picture was mine, but the rest of the pictures were from her Facebook feed, and I just made a collage in Google's free photo program called Picasa, and it's really easy to use. Okay, that's the end of that side of the slideshow. You ready for some more? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this was another trend spotting type layout where I noticed an ombre where you have like dark to light or light to dark. I really should have put the dark on the bottom of that layout, but I just took a whole bunch of scraps that were all pink, and I just arranged them from darkest to lightest, and I kind of used this paint strip as my inspiration. And I was really, at the time, I was really seeing a lot of paint strips used as like punch art with paint strips on Pinterest. Hold on one second. And also the ombre effect. So this layout was highly inspired by what I was seeing on Pinterest at the time. Okay, so I've been making videos for a long time. So this is a page I made back in 2007 about, I was making some YouTube videos, and this was just a screenshot that I printed out, and then I tried to make the whole page look like a TV. Remember the KI Memories paper? I know. Okay, this is a page about Instagram, and I've been in love with Instagram lately too, in addition to Pinterest. They have different places in my heart, but I love them both. And this was, I walked around my neighborhood, and I took pictures of different things, of letters that I saw, or shapes, and like those are my fingers, and I made it say love, 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 love on Instagram. I thought that was so clever. And then I printed out one of the little, I don't know what you call those, posts, I don't know, whatever you write on Instagram, I printed that out with a photo and the icon. I'm going to pause for just a second and cough. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so there's an Instagram inspired page. Let's keep on. Okay, another thing I love to do with Pinterest is make a page with Project Life cards. And these are actually, I think, Becky Higgins' Project Life cards. There's a lot of other companies making cards like that I will just, I guess, call journaling cards. But I just took 8 of the Project Life cards, and then I found quotes that I liked on Pinterest, and I printed them out and just put them on the little, on the cards, and I wrote a little something, and it's actually like kind of a very meaningful page because it really, you know, gets into, let's see. Lately, I'll just read you what I wrote. Lately, I've felt a little uninspired to exercise and try to lose weight, to scrapbook and be creative, and even to put up Christmas decorations. I've been dreaming about travel and ski trips and buying an RV and doing a big long road trip. Here are some of the quotes I've been pinning. So this was just a time, I guess, when I was experiencing some wanderlust. And this is the page that I made about that. So one of the quotes says, embrace the current season of your life. Stop the glorification of busy. The perfect time to start something never arrives. And mistakes are proof that you're trying. So, and sometimes if you're feeling down, or if I'm feeling down, I will get onto Pinterest and just look for inspiring quotes. And sometimes I can, you know, talk myself out of a slump. Give it a try. Really. Okay, here's another, this is a layout that was inspired by a board that I call story prompts. And so we've seen a lot of these, I hope, I laugh, I create. I think even Stacy Julian had a class with all of those prompts. But you'll find a lot of journaling prompts on Pinterest. And if you just type in journaling prompts, you're going to find so much there. And then it's really easy to just fill it in. And then I just added some quick snapshots and ta-da! And this is another page about quotes I love. And this time I didn't print anything out. I actually just typed it into my computer. Pardon me. And then added some photos of myself. And so these quotes are quotes I love. Do more of what makes you happy. If you think you can, then you can. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. I guess I like that one a lot because it was on the other one too. Okay. Let your faith be bigger than your fear. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Every child is an artist, and the expert in anything was once a beginner. So those are just some quotes that I love. Okay, this is a page that was inspired by a logo that I saw for Durango, Colorado, where it's like go and do. Isn't that clever? So I was like, oh, I gotta do that. And then I also still loving the sunburst design on the scrapbook page. Okay, here's a page that I made where I actually made a collage of weight loss quotes and, like, you know, the pretty quotes that you see on Pinterest. And I made this collage in Picasa, which again is a free program from Google to organize your photos, and you can do some very basic editing. What I like about that program is it's super easy to use, and Photoshop has always confused me. So if you're tech challenged like me, try Picasa, and just copy and paste some of the images you find on Pinterest into your Picasa, and then make a collage, and boom, you're done. You get a page. Okay, another thing I like to do is to, I don't know what that is to challenge myself to make scrapbook pages based on a certain type of theme. So we had taken a trip up to Maine, which is where I grew up, and I wanted to make a lot of scrapbook pages about Maine, but I didn't really know how to lay them out, not everything else. So I said, I'm just going to take scraps And then I'm going to take all of my punches and I'm going to make as many pages as I can. So I actually made 7 pages in one night when I did that. But these are different. So I have a board on Pinterest called Techniques and then :punches. So that was a border punch. I'm very sorry. This is a star punch. And here's the opposite of those stars. Ta-da. Okay. And then if you're like me, you take a lot of selfies with your iPhone or your mobile phone, whatever you want to call it. And this is just a page that I made about my iPhone photos. So I hope that you found something that inspires you in all of this. I find that in my scrapbooking today, I don't think many pages don't have some influence from the internet. So what I'm saying is, I think most of my pages are influenced by things that I see online. And a big part of that inspiration comes from Pinterest. Thank you for watching. I'm Katie Scott.